Hey Arthur, how are you doing? It's been a while since we've spoken. Um, yeah, I hope you're well. I hope you're really well, and you're keeping busy. I see that you've done this cannabis fair, or you're currently doing that. That looks really interesting. I don't think we've got anything like that in the UK, and I certainly haven't attended anything like that. So, yeah, as I say, I'm glad you're keeping busy. I have to apologise. Sorry, I'm sort of coming at you with this. I've got a question basically uh, about Blender, and I think it's rigging specific. It might be something else, but I think it's to do with the actual rig that I've created. And I wondered if you knew anything about it and could help. And apologies for you know breaking the silence with this question as the first thing. um, but yeah, I've looked everywhere. I've looked looked online for solutions. I've asked on my Discord channels, and no one seems to know what might be the problem. Anyway, I'll talk through it, and maybe you know, maybe you don't, or maybe you can point me in the right direction. Anyway, I've got this phone model that I've created, and the plan was to animate the cable, or at least position the cable, and then maybe have some minor kind of animation. So I've set the rig up, and I followed an old tutorial to do it because there doesn't seem to be anything specific to spiral cables. Essentially, it's a curve modifier. Let me highlight the cable itself on top of the curve itself. So the curve modifier, creates this curly helix curve, and then you add a skin to that, which creates the surface, and then obviously subdivision to smooth it out. But so that's pretty simple, and it works well. I mean, as long as you've got your deform axis sorted and all the bits and pieces in place, it works well. The next step for me was obviously hooking this up so I could actually move the cable, as opposed to animate it or position it. But I also wanted it attached to the handset and the main body, so that if you moved either of those things, the cable would move with it. Now I followed, as I say, an old tutorial which dealt with this, but it was really old. I mean, I think it was dealing with Blender 2.66. So a lot, well, not a lot, but some of the processes in that tutorial just didn't exist anymore. I mean, I'm still using an old version here myself, relatively. I've got 3.6, and I know it's up to 4.2 now or whatever. But the version he's using is very old. So some of the things that he was showing, demonstrating, they were, they were done in edit mode, or they were done with another, I don't know, whatever. So they didn't always match. However, with some diligence and whatever, I've found out how to get around those particular issues. So yeah, I've got my phone body. So this is, everything's parented up. I mean, this is a non-textured version. I've just stripped everything away in case you wanted the file. This file here is something that you could look at if you wanted. But yeah, so everything's hooked up. So when I move the phone, the cable and the handset go with it. When I move the handset, this has got a stretch bone applied so that I can actually position this anywhere I like, and the cable stretches as it should. So the gaps between each loop get bigger, but the actual cable itself doesn't distort, it doesn't change in diameter. So that's great. And then obviously what I've done is hooked up some empties to some bones. The bones are switched off at the moment in the display, but they're all hooked up to the bones. And they've got, I believe, a hook object. I mean, again, because I followed this tutorial, I'm not completely au fait with everything that's been done. I mean, I'm slowly beginning to understand it, but yeah. So as I understand it, this is, I'd have to dig through the stack here to show you exactly what was what. But these are hooked up to a hook object, I believe, which is hooked up to a bone, or they're hooked up to a bone directly. Anyway, bottom line is this: when you move one of your empties, the cable itself moves, and I've got three of these, three main ones that allow me to, position the cable anywhere I like, however I want. So that's great. These empties here at either end, there's 4 here and 2 at this side. They are they don't connect up to any bones. They're just basically hooking up to, wow, let's have a look, curly cable hook 8. That's what I've called it, obviously, but yeah, look, the modifiers here, they're all hook empty. So 8 and 9, it doesn't I mean, I don't, as I say, I don't quite understand how it works exactly, but the empty is a hook. And how I reasoned that this would work is that these empties at either end, 2 here and the 4 here, they would keep the cable in place. Because obviously what I've got is these jack ends, and the cable goes into those ends. That's the handset, and obviously that's at the excuse me while I fiddle around here, and that's at the phone, the body of the phone end. So yeah, these empties stop the cable moving. So if I move the 3 empties, one of the 3 empties that I've set up to, to make sure I can pose the cable, if I move those, you can see the cable stays in the jack. It doesn't pop out. Great. Everything's so good so far, or so far so good. However, what I found is that despite having everything hooked up, when I rotate the handset or the phone body, there's a point at which these ends jump out of those sockets. They don't stay put. And I can't figure out why. I'm hoping it's really simple. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to re-rig this. I mean, if I have to, fine. Maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe there's a scaling issue or something. I mean, everything seems to be okay. But again, I'm not an expert in this stuff. So, and there's very little information around. So it's very hard to understand, A, what I'm doing fully. I understand a bit, but clearly not enough. But obviously, but the other thing is that there's not enough information out there to get me to where I need to go. Anyway, yeah, the tutorial that I'm following, he doesn't have these kind of jacks. He just literally sticks the cable freely into the body and the handset. So it's kind of intersecting with the geometry. It's not doing anything. It's just, so when he moves his phone handset and his thing, he might be having the same problem that I've got, but you just don't see it. He might not be having the same problem. It might be that he's rigged his up according to the old version of Blender and it works fine. But again, I'm in the dark, so I don't really know. But as I say, my problem is if I rotate this now on the x-axis, it's fine right up until 89 degrees. But the minute I go to 90 degrees, there we go, look, it just pops out. So if I switch to a different viewpoint now, oh wait, no, hang on, let me demonstrate, let me demonstrate that better. Hold on, let me constrain that, there we go. Right, there we go. So that's at 90 degrees now. So if I go at, you can see how the cables jump to the left. Now, I think it's because I've got the position of my bones in the wrong place. When I set this up, I was just following that tutorial, so I wasn't really understanding the implications for what happens next. So if I highlight the armature root bone and the base bone, and both of these bones do different things, by the way. Actually, can I get rid of let's do this just a second. Sorry if let's get rid of that and the phone base. Hold on, let's do that and that. Right, so these 2 bones, I've got 2 bones, base bone and root bone. They both do different things. If you go to, hold on, I'll tell you what. Let me go back to my horizontal view. Let me do this and this again. Sorry about this, Arthur. Anyway, yeah, so let me highlight the armature and the base bone. So these 2 bones do different things. The root bone, when you move it, moves the whole cable and the handset, everything together. Nothing moves, it just moves the object as one thing. If I move the base bone, it flexes the cable. Now, I don't know why it's set up that way. As I say, I was just following the tutorial. However, that might be fine, it might be exactly what I need to do. But my problem, I think, is that if I get my phone up again, I think, actually I don't need to switch that on. Yeah, look, they don't, I haven't lined up my root bone and my base bone with the cable. I didn't think it was necessary, again, because I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't aware that, that would make a difference. I thought the position would be relative, so any movement wouldn't matter. But I guess for some reason, and I'm assuming this, I'm guessing this, I might be wrong, but I'm thinking that this bone, when it's not in the right place to start with, in some rotational positions, that's what's causing the cable to jump out of the socket that it's in. I might be completely wrong, but that's the only thing I can think of that's causing this. So yeah, how do I get around that? If that's the problem, how do I get around it? Because as you can see, the cable is offset, so it curls, 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 and then obviously it goes into the center of the handset here. However, it doesn't go into the center of the phone. The two jacks here, we've got a wire that's for power and so on, and then we've obviously got the handset cable, and these are offset, so it's not dead center. So I don't know whether it's just a case of moving these bones, you know, obviously unhooking them first, unrigging them, unparenting them first, I guess, moving them so they're above, or sorry, in the right place, and then reparenting them. Does that work? Will that work? Because it's quite fiddly, I didn't want to start something until I knew exactly what I was doing. So, you know, as I say, apologies for coming to you after us not having spoken for a while with a question. You know, I'm coming to you straight away saying, help, I need some help. But yeah, you're good with this stuff, Arthur, so maybe you know. Maybe you can just say, oh yeah, you just need to do this. I hope that's the case, because it's, you know, it's quite fiddly. But at the same time, you know, if I have to do it again and just do it better, properly, more properly, whatever, the next time, then great. You know, I'll do that too, of course. Let me just hide those again. Just to highlight the problem once more. If I... sorry, what am I doing? Right. Just so you can see what might be happening, or is happening, and that might be a clue. If I rotate the handset on, say, the y-axis, you can see there that the cable doesn't stay connected to the socket. Yeah, whereas if I move this, it's fine. And as I say, these things that are holding that cable in place don't do the job when it comes to this. I mean, it might be something simple as, you know, the origin of these empties needs to be matching the origin of the handset, or the origin of everything needs to be in one central place. I don't know, and everything needs to be parented according to that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm grasping at straws now because, as I say, I'm not an expert in this stuff at all. But yeah, if you could help, Arthur, that would be so good. If you, or just again point me in the right direction, that would be fantastic. Yeah, well, I hope you're well. I really do. I see that you're keeping busy, as I say, and I think that's great. As I said in my message earlier, I haven't got a job yet. I'm okay. You know, financially it's all right. I'm getting close to the point where I might need to sort something out. But yeah, I just don't want the experience I had with Grassfold again. You know, yeah, that was a pain in the bum basically, and I don't want that again. So if I, you know, whatever I find has to be really harmonious, shall we say. Anyway, yeah, get back to me. Even if it's just to say hello. You don't have to, if you don't know the answer to this, or you don't want to, that's fine. You know, you don't feel pressured to. As I say, I'm just kind of, I've got to the kind of end of my tether a bit here. You know, I've looked everywhere and I can't seem to find the solution. But yeah, whatever. It'd be great to speak anyway. Cheers, Arthur. Bye.